Limits have been placed on purchases of items like disinfectant wipes, laundry soap, toothpaste, sardines, and dried fish. The Trade Department had previously put limits on purchases of rubbing alcohol, instant noodles, coffee, and bread. Trade officials clarified the imposition of purchase limits does not mean a shortage in goods. They say it's a measure to prevent hoarding. The Asian Development Bank offers a grim growth outlook for Asian economies, including the Philippines, amid the global pressure from the COVID-19 pandemic. Warren de Guzman has the full story.
The Asian Development Bank's latest growth forecasts for the region have been greatly reduced due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with the Philippines seen growing a mere 2% from an original forecast of 6.2%. ADB Chief Economist Yasuyuki Sawada, however, says this assumes COVID-19 will be contained within 6 months, adding the forecast will likely have to be revised as the pandemic and its ill effects continue to evolve day to day.
The overall economic forecast we downward revised. Philippines down to 2.0%, and also overall Southeast Asia down to 1.0%. So again, no economy in Asia, Southeast Asia, and other Asian countries will escape unscratched. Overall Asian economy, including Philippines, we see picking up towards the end of last year. So once this pandemic has been controlled and contained, we should see a strong bounce back or V-shaped recovery of the economy. We are having one scenario plausible, I believe. 3 to 6 months containment, now stringent containment policy adopted by the government is quite successful and effective, and then we will see a strong bounce back the economy back to 6.5% next year.
Sawada also offered his expectations of what could happen after the health crisis.
The pandemic could leave permanent scars, especially admittedly on the global economy, including a retreat from globalization, as I briefly mentioned in my presentation. And on top of this, I think people's behavior, consumption behavior, may change permanently because people became more precocious, and also business maybe change their investment behavior, allocating some more investment to rather non-productive purposes to handle and prevent another pandemic disaster.
Sawada sees more trouble ahead for services and hospitality, as well as industries with global supply chains due to these possible fundamental changes. But he also sees an opportunity for an innovation-led rebound centered on research and development as entrepreneurs find new ways to do business. One businessman who's been investing in Philippine healthcare for the last 3 years now expects to focus on R&D efforts for healthcare products and services after the crisis.
My frustration was that we did not invest and produce fast enough. And so even our healthcare investments were caught flat-footed. And so that's one of the big scenarios coming out for us, is to really fully concentrate on healthcare as one of our anchors of investment, coming out of this.
Another businessman, this time in pharmaceuticals, says he's already seen a retreat from globalization as countries prioritize their own stock of medicines before export. He doesn't see this becoming permanent, but he also says COVID-19 has made clear the need for the Philippines to be able to develop and produce more on its own.
You know that China can produce raw materials at a much cheaper rate than we do. India can produce, actually even Bangladesh, by the way, world-class manufacturing facilities for pharma. There's still codependencies, but I think there's really codependencies with other countries. But that said, with the codependencies that's hitting us right now, I think the investments are here. Okay. What we do need, and I think same is true for developing countries, is on the R&D part.
The Philippine government has been trying to refocus the economy to support innovation and research and development through various programs. The Philippine Central Bank's regulatory sandbox approach to fintech, for instance, has allowed whole new businesses to flourish, including online payment solutions and even cryptocurrency remittance services. Large operations like PayMaya and GCash and smaller fintech companies like BloomX are now helping to move cash from employers and banks to workers and their families while keeping them safe at home during the enhanced community quarantine. The pending Corporate Income Tax and Incentives Reform Act, or CITIRA, meanwhile, aims to provide better fiscal incentives for companies that engage in innovation and R&D, and even human resource development through technology transfer and training. It seems these initiatives are now more important than ever as the entire economy prepares for the new normal the COVID-19 pandemic is creating. Warren de Guzman, ABS-CBN News.
The Foundation for Economic Freedom is calling for a calibrated easing of the lockdown when it ends on April 12th. Now, the group came up with a laundry list of recommendations, from the mandatory use of face masks for everybody, the removal of checkpoints between LGUs, to allowing factories and offices to reopen on the condition that congregations of more than 10 will be banned. Joining us now is FEF's president, political economist, Toti Chiquianco. Hi, Toti. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
So, Toti, why do you think a partial calibrated shutdown will work? I mean, we've heard from Microsoft's Bill Gates. He says that he thinks a county by county lockdown or shutdown is not going to work for the U.S. You've also got Singapore stepping up to more aggressive lockdown starting April 7th all the way until May. Don't you think we're headed the other direction if we ease up on this lockdown now?
No, I guess their situations are different. Here, there's no mass public transport. In Singapore, in United States, they still allow public transport.